I think at the end of the day, it's, are you going to put the obstacles in front of you to stop you, or are you just going to say, I'm doing this? So writing for me is my beacon. It's what I do every day. But what really fires me up and why, Rachel, you and I are working together is collaborations.
Yeah.
And I can't say enough about collaborations. We want to create a group of women that we can network with, that we can have fun with. I don't care if you're from Japan or Australia or Canada or the States or wherever you're from. The fact that we can do this, I want to take that a step further. I want to make sure that these people are supported, honored, and not forgotten. And that is where I think we're going to write many, many books in our future.
Hello, beautiful people. Yes, I am talking to you. Are you ready to feel confident AF, free from the expectations and opinions of others, and create ultimate self-trust in who you are, what you say, and how you show up in every part of your life? If you answered a hell yes, I am, I guarantee this episode will empower you to be 100% yourself, 100% of the time, no shame or guilt needed. It's time for you to strut your stuff, express yourself with freedom, and fully embrace every freaking fabulous part of you. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Road to Radical Visibility. My name is Rachel Freemon Sowers, also your host, known as the Break Free Bitch, because I am passionate about helping people break free from the toxic social constructs, expectations, and opinions that have been holding them back from experiencing their life exactly the way that they want to. And if you've ever wanted to become a published author, maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do it, I have the story to tell, or people aren't really supportive of you sharing your story, I want to tell you that this episode is for you. So please make sure that you stay to the end. You know, if you've hung out here with me very long, you'll know that the professional and my personal motto is helping people be 100% themselves, 100% of the time, no shame or guilt needed. And I am so excited about our guest today. As you can see, she's right beside me on screen. So I am going to read the introduction because I don't want to miss a single thing. So Shauna and I met through TikTok, and she's a ghostwriter who specializes in anthologies or multi-authored books. She is also the principal at Ghostwriter Business Academy, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, where they teach ghostwriters to stop working for pennies and start creating a business. Love all of this. She also lives in Vancouver, Canada. I almost said Alberta, but no longer. She is in Vancouver, Canada. You know, the road to radical visibility is going international, and I'm so excited about it. She is a no-nonsense, shoot from the hip, no frills, and no bullshit kind of gal. Please help me welcome my guest, Shauna Beatty. Welcome to the show, Shauna. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, so
let's do this.
I know, and I'm so excited because I cannot tell you, when I was in my master's program, and this really happened to me in my class, learning to be a therapist, the professor said, someone in this classroom is going to write a book. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like doing my thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay, good for someone else. After the class, he came up to me and he said, I hope you know that you're the person that's going to write the book. Now, I want to tell you, that's probably about 10 years ago. And every single year, okay, it's going to get time. I feel it coming. And I really felt it coming, you know, and then of course we met on the TikTok, and it's like, you never know who the universe is going to put in your path. So,
amen.
Yeah, I know, huh? So I've asked Shauna here today because she is a ghostwriter and she has written multi-authored books. And I really want to know, and I want all of you to know, what does it really take to write a book? So here's my first question. Why ghostwriting? Why did you start, or how did you start or get into ghostwriting?
Wow. It's, I'd like to say it was an overnight sensation, but nothing ever is. It's like it's taking you 10 years to write your book or your story or whatever, right?
Coming. Yeah.
I have to say, I honestly have to thank the pandemic for much of what's happened to me the last 3 years. My partner witnessed some of the writing that I had been doing as a hobbyist, and she's like, you need to write. Like, you need to get your words out. You need to you're so good, blah, blah, blah. And that's wonderful when you have a support team around you of good people. But the vulnerability part hits you pretty strong. And I think I'm testimony to that in terms of, how do I get past this? How do I do this? So, and really at the end of the day, it's one step at a time, one word at a time. So I started in bits sharing with friends, just knowing my safe space, right? And then I think the real tipping point for me was I joined a writer's group. We were physically meeting before the pandemic, and I started sharing some of my writing. And that literally pushed me over that cliff. It wasn't like a dip the toe in the pool kind of thing. It was like, I'm in. So I was like, what have I got to lose if I don't ever see these people again? And I did it. And that was the only thing that was holding me back on an emotional side, I think. On the professional side, it's not as easy. So I started going about writing a book, which took me the better part of 3 years. It's just a little book with a big name or big message, Weed Your Garden. And
there's an episode. I'm going to put the link in the comments.
Yes, right.
We did an episode about that. So please go check that out. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Right. So that sort of started the whole thing. And I literally answered an ad through Indeed and through several interviews and whatnot. I ended up being a ghostwriter with the company for a couple of years, mainly writing books in the real estate industry. So I would interview the agents, craft their story, send it back a few times, and then, we press the publish page. So that's in a real nutshell, sort of how this all came about. So stepping off of that, I'm like, well, I can just keep doing this. Yeah. But I want to do it for myself, for what is more meaningful for me, which is putting together a group of amazing women whom are all strangers because we don't even know who they are right now. And this is like the most exciting part is Rachel and I get to meet 20 or so more women that we've never met, likely. Maybe we've met some of them who are going to join us on this journey. And it's a passion project. Yeah. And I can't wait to get into that part of the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, like, it really is too. As you're talking, the pandemic helped you reinvent yourself, right? It's like you decided to take a shift and a vulnerable moment, like telling our stories is a vulnerable moment. If you're not even, I mean, like anytime you're putting yourself out there, it's a vulnerable moment. Right. And so it's like learning all of that and going through that. And I think that that's really, when we talk about what it takes to publish a book, you see the Amy Porterfields, the Jenna Kuchers, you see all these people out there that are doing it and they come out with this book and you think like, oh, that's how you do it. You just come out with this book. Forgetting that small businesses such as mine, or even if you are writing a personal story of reinvention, you don't have all of that stuff and it can cost a lot of money. So publishing a book, like what does it really take to publish a book?
Oh gosh. Well, there's what we call a traditional method or self-publishing. And tradition is get yourself an agent because publishers don't speak to you unless you have an agent. And then it can take months, years, etc. For somebody to pick you up. It's kind of like a recording artist. They get the best voice in the world, but until they get picked up, we don't, we as a world don't know about them. However, with the advent of social media like TikTok and whatnot, like we're creating some amazing people out there who would otherwise not be created. So the self-publishing world is exploding. And so, we all talk about Amazon, Barnes and Noble, whatnot, that have lots of great self-publishing sites that we can put our books on. So what does it take to get there? It can be a very long road if you're doing it by yourself. Let me tell you, I did it, but I persevered the marathon.
Yeah.
I persevered the marathon. But what I've now created is the race, the 100-meter race. So we're going to get to that finish line way quicker, but with the same efficiencies, the same professionalism. I've just done it a few times, so I can help get us there.
Yeah, it's really bringing that experience, right, and going through the things so other people don't have to experience it. And I think you're right with the self-publishing. I mean, before self-publishing really got its like caught on fire or whatever, it wasn't such a good thing to self-publish. You didn't have the credibility, but that's definitely not the case now. I mean, people definitely have credibility as self-published authors, and there's a lot of experience, a lot of obstacles that people experience, right? And one of the things that I've watched several of my friends who have become, self-published authors is my one friend. She wrote a book, and it's a really great book. And she had, some support along the way. But the fact of the matter is that she wrote the book and then it was kind of like done. And she actually kind of went into a deep depression because of all the vulnerability she put into the book. And she didn't feel as widely supported, right? And I've heard this multiple times from friends who are self-published. They don't have those people around them that are helping them. What are some of the other obstacles you've heard that even you had yourself when you were going through this self-publishing journey?
Oh, gosh. A heavy loaded question with lots of different answers.
Yes.
And you can ask 12 different writers, get 12 different answers, but there's going to be central things like time or lack of time, lack of resources, lack of money, lack of support. And, I haven't even gotten into the editing and the design and everything else. When is my story finished? When you're done.
Yeah.
There's so obstacles, I think at the end of the day, are you going to put the obstacles in front of you to stop you? Or are you just going to say, I'm doing this? So writing for me is my beacon. It's what I do every day. But what really fires me up and why, Rachel, you and I are working together is collaborations.
Yeah.
And I can't say enough about collaborations. You mentioned the support or lack of support that your friend had. Well, this is different. We want to create a group of women that we can network with, that we can have fun with. I don't care if you're from Japan or Australia or Canada or the States or wherever you're from. The fact that we can do this and meet each other, maybe physically one day, who knows? Maybe we get the jackets and the t-shirts, right? Become a real girl
jackets,
gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the pink ladies, So I want to take that a step further. I want to make sure that these people are supported, honored, and not forgotten. And that is where I think we're going to write many, many books in our future.
Well, yes. And I think, you decided to go the marathon. And I think when you're alone, it takes a lot of gumption and it takes a lot of perseverance. But let's face it, I can't dedicate 6 months to just only writing. Like, you have a life, people have children. I have a business to run. I do all the things in my business, right? And so like when we think that we're just going to keep pushing, and I don't know how many of you out there have done tons of things where you just keep pushing through. And it's time to decide that we can get the support we need. You can have the support you need instead of pushing through. And honestly, Shauna's alluded to it a little bit already, but her and I have entered in on a passion project together about collaborating 20 women. And, it's all about how we support you and that you're not alone. So if you don't know like any editing, you're not sitting there wondering, how do I do this? You have access to a technical writer, someone who has the experience. And then you have access to me who does voice and expression on video and social media and recording. And with these two things, it is a powerhouse of support that we're committed to offering the women who decided to join us on this project and in future projects to come, right? So you mentioned collaboration. So why don't we just start? Let me ask you this first. What are the benefits of a multi-authored book?
There are a few, actually. first of all, I think the big thing is the cost. Like when you have to write a book on your own, 300 pages or whatever it might be, and you have to pay for all these bits and pieces, and you've got to do it all yourself, or you pay to get it done. Let's face it. Books are not inexpensive to do. You can do them cheaply, but you get a cheap book. When you do a collaboration, a multi-authored book, you all divide up the pieces in terms of cost. So books can be, I don't know if people are aware, anywhere from like 30,000 and up per book. And, honestly, if you were to come to me today and say, I want you to write a 300-page book for me, it's going to be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. That's just the way it is. And that is not expensive. I'm sorry to say.
Well,
yeah, I know it's kind of scary. Now, of course, you can do it all yourself. It's just likely, unfortunately, the stats are against you. You'll likely not accomplish what you want. So again, back to the multi-authored, we all have a story to share, a story to tell, but it might not be 300 pages. You're really searching for a lot of fluff in there. I don't know about you, but when I read a book like that, the beginning's fantastic and powerful. It ends with a great ending, and the middle is a bunch of fluff. So I don't like it. I'm a short story kind of girl. Like, let's get it done. And so it's a powerful way and an easy way to get what you want out on in writing, essentially. So, and having that group together and that support means you're actually going to get it done. And start to finish, we usually get these done in about 5 to 6 months. You'll have a printed version of that book in 6 months. Well, that doesn't happen when you're on your own. I guarantee you.
And I think, like my friend, she like wrote it and it's good, it's good, but it's almost like too, she's like, she didn't write this book to go and make money on this book, right? She wrote the book to help people know how she helps other people and how she told her story, like her real transformation story, like over that book. And that's how we inspire and empower people. And I also agree with you that, when you come together as a collective, the 20 women that come and choose to come together with us for this book, it is going to be a massively powerful collective of stories that will shift over time, right? It's not just, okay, here's the book and it's done, but it is something that's going to be lasting time and allow people to continue to leave this kind of legacy too, right? This massive positive impact is what I want to leave, So why don't we just talk?
In time, 5 years from now, you might I have another story to tell. I have something so important that happened to me in the last 5 years or whatever. So this isn't stopping here. This is going to go on forever because, myself, I've reinvented myself several times throughout my lifetime, and I'm sure there'll be more things coming down the road. So yeah, I can't wait to write my own story, actually.
I know it's going to be good.
Put myself on the line. Yeah. Putting myself on the line.
And that's how people connect with us, right? We want to give people an ability to connect with us through multiple mediums. Like you have video, you have recorded podcasts, you have writing a book, you have an ebook, you have you want all of the mediums, all of the things available to you that can also feel very overwhelming. So why don't we just talk about our project that we are launching on International Women's Day? And I'm going to let you introduce the project.
Okay. Well, Your Voice, Your Choice is about women who want to share their stories about reinventing themselves. And that is the real quick and dirty of it. It wasn't long ago, I was walking around my living room and I'm like, I just feel the need for something heartfelt. I feel the need to get it out there. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And then I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good at, gathering a few people around and making things happen. And then I'm like, but I don't want to do it alone. And one thing about writing is it's a very solitary exercise. And it can be lonely. Yeah. So I do enough of that on my own. I want to bring energy and light into my project. And so there wasn't even anybody before the list. There was nobody else. If you said no, I'd be like, oh, well, okay. I'll go find somebody like Rachel. I don't think that's going to happen. But so, yeah, I phoned you and I said, here's an idea. And I don't think I even finished the sentence. And you were like, I'm in, I'm on, let's do this. Yep. When do we start? And it's been furious. But, you know, I love your energy. I've mentioned that before. I think it suits well with mine. I can't wait to bring more of this energy into this project. More women like ourselves, or very different women. I can't wait to see how diverse this is going to be, because I don't want the same. I want everything so different and fun and unique and weird and wonderful.
And I think that's the thing that is, I mean, there's so many things that are going to make this project absolutely successful, but you and I both believe in diversity. And when we have diversity, it creates a more beautiful place. And I mean, just think of it. I will write my own book sometime in the future, right? That will happen on my own. But the fact of the matter is, if I'm able to be with these 19 other women in this book, and we're so diverse, someone's going to appeal to someone else, but they're going to read my story too. Or maybe they'll read my story and talk to their friend. And then I'm going to show it to people that other people that may not ever see it. And now you have 20 audiences that are so diverse, that are reaching all of these different people. And that's really, I mean, like, if you want to talk about changing the world, this is one of the best ways to do it, because it's like keeps going. It's like that ripple effect, right? And I totally feel you on the level of about relationships. I've spent a lot of my career as a licensed marriage family therapist not able to build relationships with the people I help. And 5 years ago, I said, I'm not doing that anymore. Now is it about a collective relationship and making it more powerful? So, and we're committed. You and I both bring such a fierce commitment of support to the people that are going to be writing this book with us. They're going to be in this book with us. So the Your Voice, Your Choice, it is about that reinvention. I've done it. You've done it. And, you know, there's going to be, like you said, multiple times that we're doing it. And yet now is the time for us to get this book out there. And if we can do it in 5 months, 6 months, I mean, that turnaround is super quick, and it's just going to be more, I don't know what other word to say. Just powerful just keeps coming into my mouth. Like, just powerful, powerful, powerful.
Well, and I think an important point too to mention that is, once the book's published and it's hot off the press, we don't stop there. That's almost just the beginning. The book is just the beginning. And so we really want to impress upon the fact that if, you know, people who are interested in this, that we tend to be around for a long time, as long as you need or want.
Yes.
I mean, it's, you know, not like we're going to be stalking you on Facebook or anything, but yeah, I think there's a cohesiveness and a closeness that we're all going to get. You know, we're going to do group meetings, group Zooms, get to know each other. Launching the book is going to be a group effort. It's all a group effort. It's all together, because I'm really tired of all this solo nonsense out there. And everybody's just doing their own thing. They're doing their own thing. They're solo. But I've been beating my head against the wall, I think, for years about collaboration. And I feel like this is just a piece that's been missing for me personally, but I think for a number of people as well. I'll make a point by saying this is not the first collaboration book out there ever.
Right.
I've seen them. I've read them. I've downloaded them on my Kindle like everybody else. But what they don't do is continue afterwards. None of them. And I've talked to many people who have laid down $4,000 or $5,000 for a 2,500 word chapter and never seen anything since. And I'm just like, wow. But see, I learned the lessons from that too. Because I'm like, that's not me. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
There's so much more to do. We're just going to start. Going to start the engines.
Well, I think for our, you know, we had this quick friendship, that really started quickly, and we continue to deepen our friendship. But it was interesting how it was just immediately trustworthy for me. This is the other thing. Like, I feel like you and I have this connection and we trust. When you have someone you can trust, and when you can honestly say things to that, and the other person just, we listen and we do the things like, hey, what about this? Or do we want to add that? Nope, that's not it. But there's like those kinds of relationships. When it starts with the foundation of what we're doing, it only goes out. And I want to also say that this is a collaborative project. But if you're like, oh my God, I don't have all this time to spend with all these people, that's not what it's going to be like. You'll have an opportunity to come. You'll know that you're not alone. You'll be able to do these things, but it's not going to be something that absorbs all of your time where you're constantly worrying about it. You'll have the capacity to have Shauna with all the technical questions, all the writing questions. I'm over here. We're going to do stuff for after the book is written. We're going to do stuff in helping you be safe in your vulnerability and not having to hold all of that by yourself. I mean, I've done that for people for over 25 years now. And so I feel like this is really, I guess I would say like a perfect match in a way to help people and birth this Your Voice, Your Choice book, multi-authored book. So this is going to launch on International Women's Day. In the comments below and in the podcast description, you'll find the link to a website that tells you all about it. It gives you information about myself, about Shauna, and we want to empower you if you have ever wanted to be an author or you've been thinking about telling your story, but you're not quite sure. Contact Shauna, right? She has a website. What more do you want to say about that? If people are like, I don't know if this story is even good enough to tell.
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, I'll say it is. I've heard that so many times. If you're ready, I think the only real element is if you're ready. We're not here to drag you across any finish line, but every story is important. Like since caveman days, they've been telling stories and see how we human beings have evolved. Even if you say, campfire stories, like we just grew up, or, that's how the human beings work. Anyway, but to answer your question is your story worthy? I'll say yes, it is. But if you're still unsure, I am open for a Zoom, a phone call, whatever it is. There's, like I said, there's no charge for that. I'm here ready and available to answer any of your questions. If you're at all concerned about any element of it, by all means, let's have those conversations. Because, there's investment. There's a cost to this. There's a time investment, but I'll be honest with you. Don't tell anybody, but it's about 5 to 7 hours per author that they really need. And that includes all the Zooms. So in about a 5-month period, if you can, manage an hour here and there, then you're in the book. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think as we're talking and you're talking about us, everyone has a story to tell. And if you have that inkling that this needs to come out, I want to encourage you to contact me or to contact Shauna. That inkling is a message from your body, from the wise one that is within you that is saying this needs to come out. This needs to be expressed, and you'll have the full support of us. And I just want to be completely transparent here. We've talked about costs, and maybe you're saying, okay, great, Rachel and Shauna, you're saying you're going to do this multi-author book, and you're saying, if you publish or even on your own, it costs way more money. How much is this really going to cost? On the website, you will find the cost of this. And as of this project, the cost is massively low. And this will not impact the quality of the product.
No.
This is Shauna and my first collaboration. And Shauna is about getting stories out there. She's like, Rachel, we don't have to hike up the price. And she just comes to me saying this stuff. So I just want to say right now, this project and it won't change. This project is going to cost, well, actually it will change, but the opening price for this is about $1,300 US to become a published author with quality writing, with other quality people making a massive positive impact. Right. So there's a deadline on that amount. So please make sure to check out the website. But it is an unbelievable price where you can become a published author and feel supported 100% of the time.
Exactly it. At the end of the day, we all have to earn a living, and I'm earning a living, but I want to make this offer as palatable for as many people as I can. And it's fair. It's so fair. It's ridiculously fair. I remember you actually fought me on this. You're like, what? No, you need to raise your prices. And I probably lowered them after that.
You did.
It's not about, I'm not on a race to the bottom. Believe me, there's lots of ways to earn money. But I seriously don't want that to be the barrier. That can't be the barrier. It's not going to be the barrier. So we'll make it work.
Yeah. Okay. So you've heard all of, you've heard about becoming an author. You've heard some of the challenges. You've heard the massive amount of benefits, not only for you personally, and even if you're telling a personal story and you have a business, it will absolutely benefit your business because you'll mention what you do in the story. I mean, there's so many different ways. If you're interested, please make sure to reach out to Shauna or myself, and you can find all of the information on the website, and the link will be below. I'm going to end. Anything else you want to say before I end this video?
Only one thing, that I've picked the best partner to do this with.
I know. Just wait till I come to Canada. I don't know. Canada's, I think, ready for this because look at us. It's just like,
we're ready.
Twinning.
You can tell.
Twin win. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to end this video like I end every single video, asking you to please make sure to stay true to yourself, be kind to others, and always, always, always honor the wise one that is within you. And we will see you on the next road to radical visibility. Until then, bye. Hold up, don't go yet. If this episode inspired you to be 100% yourself 100% of the time, no shame or guilt needed, even just that little bit more, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. I'm here, and I know you are too, to make a positive impact in the world. So don't forget to share the love. And if you were left wanting more of this type of kick-ass content, then don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. Until next time, make sure to stay true and be you. Until then, bye.